Hello guys, today we will be ranking Nerf Hyper. There will be 6 blasters in this line we will be ranking, and to be honest, not a single one of them is actually good. It's not the blaster's fault, it's more of the round's fault, and there's not really much else to say. Hyper is smaller rival, but the rounds are smaller so it can hold more, but they are rubber, which makes them way worse, way harder to pick up, and just get them stuck. They just get stuck to each other even more, which does not help with blasters, because like let's see, rival has blasters that have electronics that make the balls stay moving, little gears in them that make the hoppers like shuffle around. Hyper doesn't have any of that. It also has no sorry. Let's just get on to the ranking, shall we? It has no hop up, that's what it is. This is just a really crappy version of Rival. With that, let's go on to the rankings. Act 6 is this absolute piece of poop. This thing, the only thing that Hyper has is it holds a lot of rounds. This massive blaster that is even bigger than a Kronos holds 20 rounds, and it's T-pole, but this thing's ability to feed is so bad, like just so extremely bad, it's just not even worth trying. It's just completely awful. It's terrible in every single possible imaginable way. It probably has like a 1 in 10 chance of actually loading the round, and then it jams all the time because of how the T-pole works and the balls get stuck halfway into the chamber. This thing is just god awful. It's just terrible. There's really nothing else to really say. F5 is this one, pump action, 40 rounds, which is a decent amount. It's 40 to 60 rounds, I believe. The ergonomics is actually pretty dang nice, but same issue. It's just the ability to load the rounds. Because they are rubber, they get stuck to each other way easier. And if you don't constantly shake the blaster, it probably won't feed. And this guy is not as bad as feeding as this one, but still pretty dang bad. It's probably like 1 in 8 to 5 shots it will load. It's just bad. Its loading door is not that great either. Just opening the door just doesn't work. The balls will just fall out a lot. And this thing's just not it. It's not good at all, really. At 4 is the Evolve. This guy is actually them taking a good step forward. This has probably the best opening gate out of any of the line, because you pull a thing on the back where the handle is, that yellow thing on the back, you pull that back and will open up 2 doors to the actual thing itself. That white thing on the back will open up completely, making it very easy to load. But the issue is it's still pump action. The feeding is still not there. It feeds probably 1 out of 3 rounds, which is not bad, one of the better things, but it's just not worth it. And I don't think it holds that much ammo for how big this blaster is, especially with hyper rounds. They're tiny. Like, these blasters should be holding 200 rounds, like, minimum, really. It just doesn't hold enough for the size of the blaster, and because it's pump action, the loading just doesn't work. Hyper is only really electric blaster line, because it just doesn't work well at all. Coming at 3rd is the Rush. It's one of the first blasters they released. The Kronos version, pretty much. 40 rounds. Top fed hopper. You open up the blue thing on the back. You load the rounds in. Not great, but it works. Still not good feeding. Has problems. But as long as you shake this one, you should be able to it should be able to load every time as long as you shake it when you prime it back. And this one's not bad. Ergonomics is good. I like the handle. It's the same size of the Chronos, but 40 rounds, which is useful, and this thing could actually have use. But the feeding issues, no hop up, same issues as everything else. At 2 is pretty much the combined of the Rush and this one, and they actually made a pretty and the gate of this one. So all combined made a pretty dang good blaster. You pull the thing on the back of the handle, opens up this giant gate where you can load rounds in really easily. And it is T-pull, but they did fix some of the issues, so it does load way better. The ergonomics on this thing look nice. The blaster looks nice on its own too. It holds, I think, around 30 to 40 rounds, and it works decent. Not perfect. About on the same level as the Rush, I would say. But they were actually kind of taking a good step forward with this blaster. But to make it even better, it should have just been electric, because these rounds really don't work without an electric blaster. And with that, coming in at number 1 is the Mac. 100 rounds, electric. It's not perfect because the hopper is really small. Like, they could have made this thing 300 to 400 rounds, but they didn't. They made it just 100. But even though it's only 100 rounds, it's the best blaster that it has. It's flywheel, so even if it doesn't feed, it doesn't really matter because it's just going to feed the next one. It works. It's good. Ergonomics are fine with this guy. Everything's pretty much good with it. And with that, this electric blaster that was first released, one of the first ones, the hopper's not even that good to load in, is the number 1. And overall, Hyper just sucks, really. There's no reason to get a Hyper blaster. The hop up, there is no hop up. It really desperately needs hop up because the rounds really don't go that far. The rounds are very easy to lose. The rounds get stuck to each other, messing up the blasters, not being able to feed well. And overall, Hyper was a complete and utter failure in every aspect. And if you like Hyper, I'm sorry, there's really nothing else to say. Hyper is one of the worst lines Nerf has ever made. And if these rubber balls were foam, this line probably would have been successful. Like, you could fix these things. Put some agitation in the hoppers. Make the hoppers a little bit better feeding, which they did do with, like, this guy. And just make it even more ammo. Like 40 rounds, good. This 30 round, it needs more. It could hold more. Just more rounds of capacity. More rounds, agitating hoppers, and hop up. You have those 3. This line probably actually would have been pretty dang good. And could have had a chance at Rival. But the issue is the rounds are just too small, easy to lose, and these blasters failed on many aspects. And with that, there's not much else to say about Hyper. In my opinion, it's one of the worst lines that Nerf ever did. And Hyper's pretty much dead now. It's been a while since the blaster's been released. And with that, thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you in a completely different episode. I've ranked all different kinds of lines, like Doomlands, Rival, stuff like that, Mega, Dart Zone Pro, just all different kinds of lines. You should take a look at that if you want to. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.